on.
You're watching ZBM TV 9, Bermuda.
Save more than half price on Purdue Fresh Value Pack chicken drumsticks, only $1.79 per pound, $4.99 for extra large sweet delicious cantaloupes. It's all new Tama macaroni, fusilli, spaghetti, or penny pasta. $1.69 for a 500-gram package. Everything's better with Bluebonnet margarine on it. $1.79 for a 1-pound package of sticks. $3.29 for a package of 6 ears frozen bird's eye corn on the cob. Visit our website at www.marketplace.bm for more super specials.
You can count on us.
Live from Bermuda Broadcasting, this is ZBM TV 9 News.
Good evening, everyone. It's Tuesday, January 31st, 2017. I'm Diane Brewer, and thank you for joining us tonight. Topping our news is the OBA government telling the public the whole story about its deal with 2 Canadian firms to redevelop the airport. That question today coming from Bermuda Industrial Union President Chris Ferbert, who lambasted the ruling OBA for its record on transparency over the deal. Here's Tarai Trott with our story.
This deal is a wrong deal. Wrong. And I don't care how you try to justify it, you cannot make it right.
Bermuda Industrial Union President Chris Ferbert, speaking to the media at union headquarters, surrounded by allied workers, used the opportunity to take the government to task on its level of transparency over the controversial airport redevelopment.
On this project about the airport, I think that the minister has not been transparent right from the beginning.
The union boss going on to question Finance Minister E.T. Bob Richards' statement last week that Parliament, when it reconvenes this week, would not be voting to approve or not approve the airport deal, contrary to popular belief.
Now, I'm not sure whether the media, and I weren't at the press conference, so you'll be able to tell me, did any of the media ask the minister, his press statement, did any of the media ask the minister the question, well, if they're not going to be voting on the bill, is it a done deal that it's not going to be voted on? Certainly that hasn't been, I guess, the opposition point of view. And the country has always been told that in order for this deal to go through, it has to be voted on by the House of Assembly. On Sunday, the 29th of January, the Minister of Finance has said that the train has already left the station. What does that mean?
We asked Mr. Ferbert to respond to the fact that so far the airport project has the public backing of the Construction Association, the Bermuda Hotel Association, and the Bermuda Tourism Authority.
Well, we have to ask ourselves the $64,000 question. What if this was a PLP government bringing this project to force down the people of Bermuda's throats, for lack of a better term, in the respect that would business still be in support of it? Because it doesn't matter who's going to do the project, it still will create jobs. Somehow or other, the minister has convinced Bermuda that the only people that can create jobs is a foreign company. So this whole question about why the business community is supporting it, they're supporting it because of the OBA government.
Elsewhere, Mr. Ferbert hitting back at the government's stance that they embarked on this project with the Canadians after considering all its options, questioning whether or not government approached the UK government for financing, if the minister approached local banks for a loan, or whether or not government considered posting a bond to raise the funds. Mr. Ferbert agreeing that Bermuda needs a new airport. However, he disagrees with government's approach and believes the project should be funded by government so that Bermuda does not give away its profits. Tarai Trott reporting for Bermuda Broadcasting News.
However, speaking to Tarai Trott tonight, the minister puts the confusion over government's deal down to the information that is already in the public domain.
I think the problem that perhaps some Bermudians have is that there's too much information out there as opposed to not enough. When you look at other comparable projects like the hospital or any of the school buildings or the office buildings that the former government was involved in, there was virtually no transparency insofar as that's concerned. With this, we have been transparent from the start. And to prove that, all you have to do is go to the government portal and look at all the information that's up there, including the entrustment papers, which goes into a lot of detail as relates to matters with this project. And of course, recently we have released our draft of the actual contract, the project agreement, for members of the opposition to view.
Mr. Ferber drew attention to a statement that he said you made publicly, that the train has left the station with respect to this deal. Did you make that statement, and if so, what did you mean by it?
I did say the train has left the station, and the gentleman who I was speaking to was trying to get an appointment or was trying to interest us in some alternate way of developing this same project. And I was telling him that the train has left the station. Decisions have been made by the cabinet of this country as to how to proceed. So we're not going to go backward just because he's come up with some people from abroad that he wants to bring to Bermuda. That's what I meant by the train has left the station. In any case, there's no question that the government of this country has already made a decision to proceed with this project in the way that we've described.
And the acting premier responding this way to Mr. Ferber's suggestion that government should have considered approaching the UK, local banks, and international business for funding instead.
I saw this, and these questions that he has is a clear indication he does not understand what we're doing here. I'm looking at these options. Did the minister ask the UK government to finance the airport deal? No, because we're not trying to borrow money from the UK government. UK doesn't have an outfit like CCC. Actually, no other developed country has an outfit like CCC. So the answer is no. They don't have that facility in the UK. Did we approach the banks or international business? No, because we're not looking to borrow money. That's the whole thing. You missed the point.
Meanwhile, opposition leader David Burt reiterating his call for government to come to the realization that there are more pressing needs facing this country than the redevelopment of the L.F. Wade International Airport, notwithstanding that he feels is the ill-conceived manner in which government proposes to fund that project.
When we look at the airport overall, it comes down to a very simple premise. Is this the best use of the limited resources that we as a country has? And is the best thing that we could do right now? Our view is that the deal, from what we know about the deal with the airport project, with the guarantee of the 16% return that ACON is going to get, that there is a lot of money in that deal. And if we were to do the exact same project ourselves with similar protections, we could have lots of extra money to rebuild the causeway, to do work on our schools, and all the rest.
Elsewhere, House of Assembly Speaker Randolph Horton just informing us tonight that because government released copies to all members of Parliament on the airport redevelopment, he has made the decision to postpone debate on the airport when the House resumes this Friday. This comes after he met with the Premier Finance Minister and Leader of the Opposition. Instead of debating the airport on Friday, parliamentarians will now hold that debate on Friday, February the 10th. Mr. Horton says he postponed debate so that MPs will have enough time to review the documents. As for the business of the House for this coming Friday, Mr. Horton stated that he looks forward to a healthy, robust, and respectful debate. Stay with us. More news and tonight's AccuWeather forecast after the break.
You can count on us.
Save $3 on New Zealand leg of lamb, $4.99 per pound. Save $2 on all varieties of potatoes, $4.99 for a 5-pound bag. Only $1.69 for a 5-ounce tin of Bumblebee chunk-like tuna in water. Hers potato chips, $2.99 for selected varieties of 5.3-ounce bags. Can't have a Super Bowl party without Diet Coke, regular or Coca-Cola Light. $6.39 for a 6-pack. All stores open Monday through Saturday until 10 p.m. and Sunday 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. for your shopping convenience.
You can count on us.
Reports reaching our newsroom of a man being held against his will during what is believed to have been a home invasion in the area of the Highwood Lane in Paget. The purported victim was allegedly bound with duct tape for several hours after the incident, which we're told began around 11 a.m. yesterday morning. It's understood the man managed to escape. Contacted about the incident, a police spokesperson told us the Bermuda Police Service is currently investigating the circumstances of a reported aggravated burglary at a Highwood Lane Paget residence on Monday, January the 30th. A suspect has been arrested in connection with the matter and inquiries continue. Police are appealing for anyone who may have seen anything suspicious, individuals or vehicles in the Highwood Lane Paget area on Monday to contact the Criminal Investigation Department on 247-1744. In court news, the civil case brought before the Supreme Court by a gay couple to argue for the right to marry in Bermuda continued today. Jasmine Patterson was in the courtroom.
Bermudian Winston Godwin and his Canadian fiancé Greg DeRoche have brought a civil case against the Registrar General for rejecting their application to marry, claiming the refusal breaches the Human Rights Act. Mr. Godwin and Mr. DeRoche are represented by Mark Pettingill with the Attorney General's chambers for the defendant. Lawyer Rod Attridge Sterling, on behalf of interveners, the Bermuda Human Rights Commission, for Mr. Godwin and Mr. DeRoche, argued before Justice Charles Etta Simmons that the Registrar General is discriminatory by denying a public service to the couple. He says it is the function of the government to provide and regulate the process. If the Transport Control Department refuses to give out licenses because a person is Filipino, or if a license to catch lobsters is refused because a person is Portuguese, there is an unfairness in this process, and that's what we're speaking about today. Mr. Attridge Sterling further argued that same-sex couples can adopt children now, and children could be prejudiced because they don't have the right to have the stability that comes with having married parents, stating, "We respectively submit that it isn't fair." After referring to the United States Supreme Court ruling that preventing same-sex marriage is unconstitutional, as well in South Africa, he said, "We were taught in Bermuda to have a discriminatory view of homosexuals. Same-sex couples can adopt. Not everyone has evolved at the same rate," unquote. The proceedings continue. Jasmine Patterson reporting for Bermuda Broadcasting News.
In other news tonight, a chief concern of the Bermuda Hospital Board is that hospital beds are full. In providing an update to Hamilton Rotarians today, CEO Vanetta Simon says while the BHB's finances are bouncing back following the construction of the acute care wing, there's still more room for efficiency in expanding hospital services to the community.
The risk that we're facing right now is our beds are full. Whether you're in King Edward or whether you're at MWI, our beds are absolutely full. That's resulting in delays in emergency. So when you go there, you might have to wait. We have put in a fast track in our emergency to address it, but these are problems that are going to continue. Our population is getting older. We're all living longer. We're at a time in our lives when there are more and more concerns that are coming, and those issues aren't being managed in the community. We truly believe, and you'll see that in the strategic plan that I handed out, we truly believe that a lot of the care that BHB is providing can be provided out in the community. But we need to change. We all have to work together to change how that care is provided and what that expectation is. So whether it is our mental health services or our medical services, there are some services that could be provided from the community.
Meanwhile, specialist care, a clinic for underinsured patients, BHB scholarships, and a new radiation therapy center have come to fruition thanks to being in a better financial position.
We're in a positive position right now. And the story that you really need to take away from that it isn't, healthcare costs have continued to rise, so that is a fact. Stabilized somewhat, but where there have been increases, those increases have not been driven by the hospital. So in 2012, our expenses were $312 million per year. We opened up the new wing, took on an annual service payment of over $27 million, added additional costs of $40 million. Our expenses could have been $372 million, but in 2016, our expenses were actually $310. So they went down. Thank you. Thank you. We're very, very, very proud of that. There are 1,800 employees that we have who have worked tirelessly to make sure that we are becoming more and more efficient. So we have better value. We've made our services more efficient. There have been low to zero fee increases for BHB since 2012. Our payments for the ACW have been consistent. They've been on time. We have not triggered the government guarantee, and that was a major risk when I spoke before. We reduced the utilization of diagnostic and lab testing, because what we did, we referred to guidelines, worked with our partner physicians, and helped them to understand appropriate testing.
The BHB will holding an open space event to voice your concerns and queries on Thursday, February the 2nd at Pier 6 starting at 5:30 p.m. To RSVP, email bettertogether@bhb.bm. In other news, based on preliminary studies, illegal fishing in our 200-mile exclusive economic zone appears to be low, according to the Ministry of Environment. It's the first time Bermuda has a real picture of the kind of activity taking place in our EEZ. A UK company, Catapult, reviewed shipping activity data collected by satellite from 2013 to 2016 using automatic identification system technology. The data was collected inside of Bermuda's 200 nautical mile exclusive economic zone. Preliminary results show that there's no strong seasonal trends in AIS activity that could potentially be associated with illegal fishing. The Minister of the Environment, Cole Simons, said, quote, "The ministry is grateful for the support of Orem Fund Management, who paid for this important study. This analysis gives us a much deeper understanding of what's happening in our exclusive economic zone." The Department of the Environment and Natural Resources, guided by the Marine Resources Board, will now review the report and propose recommendations for the appropriate level of monitoring needed to confirm suspicious fishing activity within our EEZ going forward. If a foreign vessel is convicted of fishing illegally in Bermuda's waters under the Fisheries Act of 1972, one could be fined up to $1 million. Turning to weather news, the nice settled conditions will remain until Friday. Here's the latest from AccuWeather headquarters.
AccuWeather is presented by BF&M Insurance Group. We now go to AccuWeather headquarters.
Tonight's forecast is brought to you by the BF&M Insurance Group. I'm AccuWeather Shanae Shock. Our cold front off towards our south and our east brought us some of that rainfall. We're still seeing some cloudy weather. We take a look at our satellite and radar. The cold front clearly defined as it passes off towards our south and our east, but we're still going to be in a little bit of cloudy weather before an area of high pressure begins to build in. But as far as showers go, most of it now held off towards our south and our east. Can't rule out the chance of a spotty drizzle or so, but overall we are in the clear. Our current conditions right now, humidity has dropped quite a bit as that front has passed. We continue to see some winds out the west southwest, about 10 to 20 knots. Our water temperature 66 degrees, waves outside the reef 6 to 10 feet. We are still seeing a small craft warning in effect through our Wednesday. As far as our temperatures are concerned, 62 degrees across the island from Somerset and Dockyard into St. George's as well. Now, as far as tonight goes, we'll continue to see some patchier clouds. Our winds are going to begin to decrease as we head throughout the rest of this evening, and then we work our way into tomorrow. Still going to be breezy. Our high at 69 degrees. And partly sunny skies are going to come back. As far as our marine conditions go, well, we have our next high tide right around 11 o'clock tonight. We'll have our second one just after 11 tomorrow morning on our Wednesday. And our low tide for tomorrow around 5 o'clock in the morning and 5:30 in the afternoon. So once again, with our waves beginning to decrease as that front has passed, those are going to be back to around normal. As we take a look at our gateway forecast, snowfall continuing out towards Toronto. However, New York going to clear out for our Wednesday. Boston as well, though we are going to stay cloudy. We have a couple of showers down towards London, 53 degrees. For a high for the middle of your work week. Out towards the Central Caribbean, well, we have the tail end of that cold front attached to the one that passed through us, and that's bringing some spottier showers as well as an area of low pressure. So we're going to continue to see some wet weather. For us, however, heading towards the end of our work week, we'll be looking mostly dry, but into Friday night and Saturday, that's when we start to see another cold front move through the region, and that's going to bring some showers, increase in our winds. We can expect a small craft warning in effect from Friday and through Saturday and possibly even into Sunday morning. Our temperatures behind this front going to drop quite a bit on Sunday with a high of 62 degrees. So definitely going to cool off, and then we'll get some sunshine back into early next week. Until then, make sure you stay tuned in to our local radio stations here, Ocean 89, Power 95, and Inspire 105 for all of your weather news and updates.
AccuWeather was presented by BF&M Insurance Group.
Every Every day, a tsunami hits Bermuda. A tidal wave of information and images floods our phones, laptops, and tablets. We're awash in emails, posts, tweets, blogs, texts. As an advertiser, your message can easily get drowned out. Time to reach for the life raft. Technology changed the game, but television and radio still lead the way. Who doesn't have an all-time favorite TV ad?
Affleck, where's the beef? You can count on us.
The man, your man could smell it.
TV remains the most powerful advertising tool in the world. For immediacy and engagement, you can't beat radio. Here at Bermuda Broadcasting, we can help you reach thousands of people at the same time. You might have a new small business or run a corporation. We can customize ads to help you build awareness and attract new customers. TV and radio advertising gets results. Call me, Diane Brewer, and I'll show you how. In medical news, peanut allergies can be deadly, and the number of people who are plagued by allergies is on the rise. But scientists in North Carolina are working to make peanuts safe for everyone. Here's CBS News.
Scientists at North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University believe they have found a way to make peanuts allergy-free.
In that study, the folks at A&T had treated the peanuts with a certain process to try to reduce the major peanut proteins.
Michelle Hernandez is one of the researchers at UNC Chapel Hill testing the groundbreaking new nuts. She says they started out by doing skin testing.
And what they wanted to see is compared to regular peanut extract, which is made up of numerous peanut proteins, if the skin test size was reduced. Because if it was less, it could mean that maybe their new product made people less clinically reactive.
I decided I didn't mind being a lab rat. So Hernandez did a skin test on me.
Okay, so I'm going to do tree up here. And another kind of dust mite. If you're allergic to other things, they're also going to start itching and you'll see a little hive.
Her research showed the skin size was significantly reduced in people allergic to peanuts. So now the next step.
There are researchers here that have a mouse model of peanut allergy. And what they can do in that context, they can compare the treated product versus the untreated peanut product. And they can then give it to these mice and see if the mice have anaphylaxis or an allergic reaction.
Hernandez says while the research does show a lot of promise, it's still in the early stages.
Years. Yeah, this isn't months away. This is years away. Because if they find that the mice tolerate it very well, from that point, then it would go to early phase human studies.
In Chapel Hill, Kelly Kennedy, CBS North Carolina.
In sports news, Rollins prepares for his second match in India, and Inside Sports gets set to stream live. Mike Sharp reports.
Bermudian all-round cricketer Delray Rollins and England under-19s take on India's under-19s in the second game of the 5 ODI series on Wednesday. England's Young Lions defeated India by 23 runs in the first match, with Rollins voted man of the match with a century and 2 wickets. England's cricket system has long benefited from an influx of overseas talent, players with roots in South Africa, New Zealand, Ireland, Zimbabwe, and even West Indies. Few, however, have emerged from Britain's overseas territories, although David Hemp, who had a long county career with Glamorgan, was born on Ireland. The arrival of several Kolpak signings in county cricket has caused a great stir in recent weeks, but there has always been various routes into the English game for those born overseas. In Rollins' case, Bermuda's loss looks like being England's gain. Inside Sports, the talk radio show on Power 95 Monday afternoons, takes it up a notch. Host Ian Rollins tells us what will be taking place with his new co-host Earl Baisden on islandstats.com. Inside Sports, your baby for quite a while in there. What exactly is taking place?
Well, this will be the third year for Inside Sports Talk Radio to be on Power 95. And we just changed up a bit this year. We've got a new co-host, Earl Baisden of islandstats.com. What's going to be interesting, we're going to be streaming live for the first time ever on Power 95 from 1:30 to 3 p.m. every Monday. People were calling for it, so we had to live to those expectations.
Earl, can you elaborate on live streaming?
Well, it's one of those things where people want to see what's going on now, and joining with Ian with Inside Sports Talk Radio. It offers the opportunity for people to watch, not only listen, but watch and see people being interviewed, also hear conversations from people overseas, and it brings globally the world to Bermuda.
Ian, you had 3 good years with the legend, Clyde Bunny Best, and what a job he did.
With Clyde, it was great working with him for 2 years. He brought the local aspect from the Somerset Trojans to First Division football to Premier Division football, but more so West Ham. He brought some insight on what needs to be done in the academies for West Ham, how Bermudians get involved and take them overseas. And during his tenure with us, he took Bermudians and raised them to that level, and now there are Bermudians there hoping to be a professional at West Ham one day.
Are there any other steps planned here? We're going live streaming. What else? What's the next phase?
Well, as you know, you always accept calling in. In addition to that, the streaming is going to be the big asset of it. That's the big one. And it's the first time for us at Power 95 and Bermuda Broadcasting to stream Inside Sports Talk Radio on islandstats.com.
In the second part of an interview, the CEO of the Bermuda Sport Anti-Doping Authority, Debbie Jones-Hunter, elaborates on the procedures they follow when an athlete has tested positive for drug use. We reported on Monday that a well-known bodybuilder tested positive for 3 performance-enhancing drugs and was banned for 4 years.
When it comes to performance enhancing, we have a risk assessment where we look at all sports. We rate them based on profile, trends, therefore, and then we go out to test, and we are also guided under a WADA technical document which clearly states exactly how many times we should test athletes in our registered testing pool out of competition, and also we should be doing in-competition testing at national championships, which we did. Yes. No, well, it basically is based on place, most likely. Sometimes we can choose and do someone randomly if we received intelligence and the like. But as you notice, in most major competitions, it's always the first 3 or first 4, and likely now it makes a difference, because when one tests positive and they win a competition, then the individual that comes in second either gets the first place title, whether it be a medal, gold medal, Olympic medal, what have you.
Nesta Carter.
Well, yes. And there are a number of athletes that test positive. If one was to look at many of the national anti-doping organizations' websites, USAD, which is United States, Canada, you go into Brazil's website, you go into many NADA websites, and there are news articles of athletes that have tested positive. I will say that on our website, we tell athletes, when you go on there are 2 website links that one should go on, which is Global Dro, and then 411 Supplement, which speaks to substances and maybe vitamins and things like that they are taking. And once you key that information into the title box, it will come up and tell you which substances are prohibited on the WADA list. And that's why we encourage athletes not to take any supplements. This is unfortunate, and what I will say that when you're doing this job, you keep the emotional piece out of it. You're guided by the guidelines and the code, and that's what we do.
And I'm Mike Sharp with Bermuda Broadcasting Sports.
The Marketplace Food Court is you and your family's one-stop shop. Start your day at the Breakfast Bar with omelets made to order and traditional Bermuda codfish breakfast. The chefs will cook lunch and dinner to your liking. Along with the salad bar, sandwich bar, sushi bar, and fruit bar, the Marketplace Food Court is your kitchen away from home. Every day is hassle-free with nutritious meals from the Marketplace Food Court. Visit us 7 days a week. Homemade cooking, quality service, all at prices you can count on.
Bermuda Broadcasting Company is pleased to inform our viewers Community Calendar will now appear on television. We are now providing Community Calendar 30 and 60-second television ads on ZFB TV7 at a special rate. You will have the opportunity to showcase your ad either 6:58, 7:58, or 8:58 p.m. Monday through Friday, a minimum of 7 days. For more information, please contact our sales and marketing department at 295-2828.
In health news, new findings on how doctors are spending their work time, and can snowfalls be hazardous to your health? Here's a look at today's top health stories.
A new study at Harvard finds hospitalizations for cardiovascular problems jumped 23% 2 days after major snowfalls. Researchers say there are several possible reasons why. They include issues caused by excessive snow shoveling and, in some cases, delays getting to the hospital during the snow emergency. Regular swimming, biking, and brisk walking can lower the risk of high blood pressure for African Americans. That's according to doctors at Columbia University, who found regular exercise can be more useful than physical activity from working or doing household chores. And doctors may be interacting with patients a lot less. Swiss researchers discovered physicians spent about 3 times as much time at the computer screen than one-on-one with their patients. Those are some of the day's top health stories. Don Champion, CBS News, Dallas.
And that's our newscast for tonight. I'm Diane Brewer. Thank you for joining us. Have a wonderful evening, everyone. Good night.